On June 9, 2008, a horrifying murder took place in Mesa, Arizona, when the body of a young American businessman, Travis Alexander, was discovered in the bathroom of his home. When police arrived and began examining the scene, what they found was nothing short of gruesome. Blood stains soaked into the carpet, bloody handprints smeared on the walls of the living room, strands of hair, and a spent bullet casing scattered across the floor. The heartbreaking scene left Travis's family and friends in total shock. They couldn't believe anyone could commit such a brutal act against Travis, a lively man with no known enemies. Who could have held such a deep grudge against Travis to carry out this horrific crime? Let's delve into the case. According to the autopsy report, Travis had been stabbed 29 times all over his body and shot once in the forehead. Forensic expert Dr. Kevin Horn concluded that the carotid artery, jugular vein, and trachea had all been severed by the knife wounds. Dr. Horn also stated that Travis likely died from the gunshot to the head. Defensive wounds on his hands indicated that he fought desperately for his life. At the crime scene, police found a .25 caliber handgun near Travis's body. They also discovered a digital camera recently purchased by Travis inside the washing machine. Though it had been damaged, investigators sent it to forensic technicians in hopes of recovering the deleted photos. Police immediately questioned the group of friends who discovered the body, but all of them had solid alibis and were quickly ruled out as suspects. When asked if Travis had any suspicious relationships, his friends and family quickly pointed to his ex-girlfriend, Jodi Arias, a woman from Eureka, California. According to those close to him, Travis had previously confided that Jodi had been stalking him. Not only had she broken into his Facebook account, but she had also slashed his tires. Even after their breakup, Jodi wouldn't leave Travis alone. Every time he tried to cut her off, she'd threaten suicide and show up at his house, said Sky Hughes, a close friend of Travis. But who exactly was Jodi Arias? Could she really be cold-blooded enough to brutally kill a strong, healthy man like Travis? Let's go back and take a closer look at the relationship between Travis and Jodi. Our story begins in 2008. Travis Alexander, the victim, was a charismatic salesman born in Riverside, California on July 28, 1977. After the death of his beloved father in 1997, he moved in with his grandmother and 7 siblings. During this time, he was introduced to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS Church, eventually converting and becoming a devoted Mormon. In his early 30s, Travis was working as a salesman and motivational speaker for Prepaid Legal, a multi-level marketing company based in Mesa, Arizona. Jodi Arias, on the other hand, was born on July 9, 1980, in the small town of Salinas, California. Her childhood was relatively uneventful, but she had a deep passion for photography. Everything she experienced, she documented through her camera, and many admired her talent behind the lens. Because of this passion, Jodi dropped out after 11th grade to pursue a career as a professional photographer. However, things didn't go as she had hoped. Her dreams gradually faded as she faced the harsh reality. Photography couldn't pay the bills, and she had to find another way to make a living. In February 2006, she started working at Prepaid Legal, and it was there that she met the man she believed was her destiny, Travis. They met at a business conference in Las Vegas in September 2006. It was an instant connection. Travis was charming and handsome, and Jodi was attractive and outgoing. It didn't take long for them to fall for each other. Soon after their first meeting, they were calling each other daily and exchanged over 80,000 emails in just 5 months, a staggering number in such a short time. But there was one significant barrier. Travis was a devout Mormon. His faith required him to date only those who shared his religious values. Jodi knew this, and wanting to be with him, she converted to the LDS Church. Travis baptized her himself in November 2006. By February 2007, they officially became a couple, and for a while were very happy together, celebrated by their friends and community. But just 4 months later, in June 2007, Travis ended the relationship. The breakup stemmed mostly from emotional incompatibility and differing perspectives on their relationship. Travis, who took his religious beliefs seriously, had a strict view on romantic relationships, which sometimes created friction between him and Jodi. Eventually, Travis realized Jodi wasn't the person he could build a future with. Despite being initially attracted to her, he began to see their relationship as complicated and unhealthy. Moreover, during their time together, Jodi displayed behavior that made Travis uncomfortable, such as controlling tendencies and jealousy whenever he interacted with other women. This pushed Travis to make a firm decision to break things off, wanting a life of freedom without being controlled. But Jodi, still deeply in love with him, couldn't accept the breakup. She clung to the relationship and later even moved to Mesa, Arizona, just to be near Travis, even though they were no longer officially together. Though the romance had ended, they continued an ambiguous sexual relationship, one that was hidden from the Mormon community around them. Over the next year, the relationship lingered, bringing discomfort to both of them. Jodi would often show up unannounced in the middle of the night, while Travis had started showing interest in another woman. Jealousy consumed Jodi. They argued often over their expectations of each other, but Travis stood firm in his decision not to rekindle their relationship. Witnessing Jodi's obsessive behavior, Travis's friends began referring to her as the crazy ex-girlfriend, and repeatedly warned him about how dangerous this relationship could become. Travis eventually confided in his friends that he was afraid of Jodi. He suspected she had slashed his tires and hacked his Facebook account. Still, he couldn't seem to shake her off. Meanwhile, Jodi remained deluded by her love for Travis, unaware that he had already begun to fear her. She continued to write in her journal, convinced that she and Travis were destined to be together forever, that nothing could separate them. Even after moving back to California to live with her grandparents in April 2008, her feelings for Travis didn't wane. She kept in contact and would frequently visit him whenever she could. Then came June 4, 2008, when friends started getting worried after Travis stopped responding to calls and messages. Their concern grew over the following days. Finally, on June 9th, friends decided to go check on him in person. When they arrived at Travis's house, his roommate mentioned he thought Travis had gone out of town. He had been away himself and wasn't sure of Travis's whereabouts. But Travis's bedroom door had been locked for days. Unable to contact him, the friends grew increasingly alarmed. They found a spare key and unlocked his bedroom door, only to be met with a terrifying scene. There were large pools of blood in the hallway leading to the bathroom, and in the bathroom, they found the lifeless body of Travis Alexander. Shocked beyond belief, the friends ran out of the room and immediately called the police.
What's going on?
A friend of ours is dead in his bedroom. We hadn't heard from him for a while. We think he's dead. His roommate just went in there and...
According to the police investigation, Travis had been stabbed 27 times, shot in the head with a .25 caliber bullet, and had his throat slit so deeply that his trachea, jugular vein, and carotid artery were all severed. Police began questioning everyone involved and were able to eliminate several potential suspects. But when asked about anyone suspicious in Travis's life, all eyes pointed to one person, Jodi Arias. Was Jodi really involved in Travis's sudden and violent death? Stay tuned for the next part of this chilling story. Realizing that Jodi could be the prime suspect in the case, police immediately reached out to her. At first, upon hearing about Travis's sudden death, Jodi appeared devastated. She cried and told officers through tears that she hadn't seen Travis since April that year. She claimed she missed him deeply, but Travis had refused to see her, and she had been too busy with work to have any involvement in his death. However, upon further investigation, police uncovered that Jodi Arias had been lying. They discovered that on June 2nd, Jodi had rented a car in Redding, California, just about 100 miles south of where she lived with her grandparents. A few days prior, she had contacted her ex-boyfriend, Daryl Brewer, asking if she could borrow 2 5-gallon gas cans that he had previously purchased from a local store. Interestingly, Jodi also purchased a third 5-gallon gas can on June 3rd. Later that same evening, she bought 8 gallons of gas using her MasterCard at a station in Pasadena, California, and just 4 minutes later, she paid cash for an additional 9 gallons. These suspicious actions led detectives to believe she was planning for a long trip with the intent to leave no trace. Still, beyond these suspicious details, police couldn't yet directly tie Jodi to the murder. The killer remained a mystery. Back at the crime scene, police found Travis's digital camera in the washing machine downstairs. Oddly, the camera had been damaged. Friends of Travis told police he had just bought the camera and loved it. It didn't make sense that he would throw it in the washing machine. This led investigators to suspect that someone had intentionally tried to destroy it. Although many photos had been deleted, police were able to recover some of them. Photos that would become crucial evidence in the case. Among the restored images were provocative photos of Travis and Jodi in intimate poses, time-stamped around 1:40 p.m., clearly disproving Jodi's previous claim that she hadn't seen Travis. Even more damning was the last photo taken of Travis, captured at around 5:29 p.m. in the bathroom. He was still alive in that picture. But just moments later, another accidental photo showed a blurry image of the attacker, later identified by police as Jodi herself. Apparently, during the struggle, Jodi accidentally kicked the camera across the bathroom floor, triggering a snapshot that captured the attacker's shoe, confirmed later to be hers. These photos confirmed that Travis was brutally attacked, suffering at least 27 stab wounds and a gunshot. Police also found evidence that the attacker had tried to clean the scene, including wiping down the floor and even Travis's body. But the killer had missed one key detail: bloody palm prints left on the wall. DNA analysis revealed that both Travis and Jodi's blood was present at the scene, placing her there at the time of the murder and proving she had lied. Finally, the truth was beginning to emerge. After killing Travis, Jodi attempted to wipe away all traces of the crime and quickly fled Mesa, Arizona. She then drove across the desert toward Utah, aiming to establish an alibi by meeting her new boyfriend, Ryan Burns. When she arrived in Utah, Ryan and his friends noticed that Jodi had bandages on her hands and was wearing long-sleeved shirts despite the hot weather. They also noticed that her hair had been dyed brown, a change from her previous appearance. On June 10, 2008, Jodi called Ryan and claimed that her hand injury came from working as a pizza chef at a restaurant called Margaritaville. However, when Ryan searched for the restaurant online, there was no record of such a place. Authorities later confirmed that no restaurant by that name existed in the area. That same day, in West Jordan, Utah, police pulled over Jodi because the rental car she was driving had no front license plate and the rear plate was upside down. Jodi casually explained that some kids at a Starbucks parking lot must have played a prank on her. After her short trip to Utah, Jodi returned to California and returned the rental car on June 7, 2008. However, the car had been driven more than 2,800 miles over the agreed limit, and it was returned without any floor mats. The front and back seats were also stained. Jodi claimed it was Kool-Aid. It was clear that the car had been thoroughly cleaned before police could examine it. While the investigation continued in Arizona, police in Siskiyou County, California, also began looking into Jodi. On May 28th, Jodi's grandparents reported a burglary at their home. Among the stolen items was a .25 caliber handgun. That gun was never recovered, but a .25 caliber bullet matching that gun was found at Travis's crime scene, right next to his body. With mounting evidence, a grand jury indicted Jodi Arias for first-degree murder on July 9, 2008. On July 15, 2008, she was arrested at her grandparents' home in California. Despite her arrest, Jodi insisted she was innocent. During the initial interrogation, investigators applied heavy pressure, but Jodi remained oblivious to the mountain of evidence against her, sticking to her story that she hadn't visited Travis during the week of the murder.
You know where Phoenix is in Mesa, it's got to be over here.
Yeah.
I didn't go anywhere near there.
I have a problem with this trip.
Jodi continued playing innocent, desperately trying to convince investigators she had nothing to do with Travis's murder. It wasn't until June 2009, under increasing pressure, that Jodi finally admitted she was at Travis's house when the incident happened. But she claimed that 2 masked intruders broke in, murdered Travis, and injured her. "We were taking pictures together when we heard a loud noise. When I came to, I was near the bathtub and heard Travis screaming. I looked up and saw a man and a woman dressed in black, holding a knife and a gun. The man pointed the gun at me and pulled the trigger, but it didn't fire. I ran out of the house, leaving Travis behind, Jodi told police. She added that she drove away immediately and didn't report the incident to avoid trouble. Her story was rejected by police due to lack of evidence. 2 years after her arrest, under pressure from detectives, Jodi finally confessed that she killed Travis, but now claimed it was in self-defense after years of abuse. On December 10, 2012, Jodi Arias' trial began, presided over by Judge Sherry Stevens. Prosecutor Juan Martinez presented strong evidence that Jodi had premeditated the murder and sought the death penalty. The prosecution also cited the burglary at Jodi's grandparents' home on May 28, 2008. A .25 caliber handgun was stolen, the same type used in Travis's murder. They argued Jodi staged the burglary and used the stolen gun to kill him. In contrast, Jodi's defense team claimed she killed Travis in self-defense. On February 4, 2013, Jodi testified in her own defense, accusing Travis of being sexually abusive and having disturbing fetishes. She claimed he had become increasingly violent, both physically and emotionally abusive. According to her defense, the fatal confrontation happened when Travis became violent again and threatened her with a gun, forcing her to defend herself. However, Jodi's constantly changing stories and initial denials led the jury to see her as unreliable. On May 8, 2013, after 15 hours of deliberation, the jury found Jodi Arias guilty of first-degree murder. However, they couldn't agree on whether she deserved the death penalty. A second jury convened in October 2014, but again failed to reach a unanimous decision on the sentence. Under state law, Jodi could not be retried and was instead sentenced to life in prison. Before sentencing, Jodi expressed remorse. "To this day, I can't believe I was capable of such a horrible thing. I truly hate myself for what I've done. I'm horrified and wish there was a way to undo it." On April 13, 2015, Jodi was officially sentenced to life in prison without parole. After the sentencing, she told a reporter, "Spending life in prison is worse than a quick death," though later she said she preferred life imprisonment over execution. In addition to her sentence, the judge ordered Jodi to pay $32,000 in restitution to Travis's family to cover travel and accommodation expenses during the lengthy trial. In May 2018, Jodi filed an appeal, arguing that she didn't receive a fair trial due to excessive media coverage. However, the appeal was denied and her life sentence was upheld. Blind love, when left unchecked and lacking reason, can lead to tragic consequences. Trusting others blindly, without understanding the full picture of a relationship, can result in devastating decisions that destroy lives. Jodi's story stands as a painful warning, a reminder that love should be built on respect, clarity, and self-awareness, not obsession or impulse. For young people in particular, building healthy and responsible relationships can prevent heartbreak and protect not just your future, but the lives of those around you.